I love my integrated passive energy greenhouse. And this is video number 2 in our construction and design series for the IPEG, where we talk about passive solar orientation, site planning, and the engineering decisions that went on behind the scenes as we decided how to build it and where to build it. Join us. Hey Provident Gardeners, I'm Kylene and I'm here with Jonathan and James, and we are doing the second video in our series on the integrated passive energy greenhouse that we have built that is amazing. Today we're going to talk about passive solar orientation and site planning and all the stuff that it took before we ever lifted a shovel. James, what is the most important thing to do before we ever dig?
Well, make sure it's going to be facing south, I guess. Make sure you have the right spot for your greenhouse so that it's going to work work correctly. Make sure the space is available. Make sure that it's going to meet your needs in that space, and you don't want to build something if it can't function right. So you just got to make sure you have the space for the correct orientation. We
had this spot right outside our back door. How many feet is it from the back door?
Probably 30 or 40 feet.
And so I can walk out here, which means that I'm going to take better care of it. That means that when it's dinner time, I'm going to come out and pick stuff and use the food out here. So that part of it was super important. And so when we're looking at a design, we want to design backwards for performance. We want to really evaluate everything. And what were the major things that we wanted in this greenhouse? Off-grid?
Yeah, definitely the off-grid piece. Trying to maximize the space, but sometimes you can't maximize it to the extent you want because then the design falls apart. So finding that balance between, the size of it, how much we can grow. We tried to give as much growing space as possible. You just have to find that balance.
Yeah, and we didn't want to use any fuel to heat or cool the greenhouse. We needed it to take care of itself and not to be something that was only good for a few years. We figured we need this greenhouse to last for the rest of our lives. And so as we designed it, those were some of the things that we really talked about, and we decided to use the extra expense because we want it to be able to last. Even the ventilation, it was all designed so that it would be best for the plants without any electricity.
Yeah.
When we were looking at the site location, we looked at, yes, we needed it south facing. We needed to know where our sun was coming from, but we also needed to look at drainage because we didn't want to put it in a swamp. We needed to look at different shade factors because we have out here a mature apple tree, and we wanted to make sure that we positioned it correctly so that that wouldn't impact our sun in the wintertime when we needed it the most. Now on this side we have a metal building, and we wanted it just as far as we had to have a nice space between there so that we could have access to this. So there were a lot of things that factored into where we put it. Now let's talk about the 55-degree angle decision.
Nate had done his at 55. I actually came up with 60 degrees, which would tilt it up just a little bit more, so we got lots of winter sun and then more shade in the summer. But this 55 is working really well.
James, why don't you talk to us a little bit about the design of the stem wall?
Yeah, so the stem wall, we needed a wall that would allow the sunlight to penetrate into the greenhouse when the sun was at its lowest point, but also be able to let in ventilation. You need to be able to get that airflow in here to keep the plants healthy and also keep the greenhouse cooler. And believe it or not, even in the winter time, a lot of the time you have to keep it cooler. You will get snow piled up in front of that sometimes, and sometimes that's good. It's more insulation, and you're not as concerned about the sunlight in the winter in some aspects because the angle is right where you're getting more anyway, but you just want more on the back wall. You don't necessarily need more on those front plants. So it works really well with that 18-inch stem wall.
One of the great design features that James put in here was expanded metal grates that are galvanized. And they are the perfect size hole to let my pollinators in, but not the mice. And now, it's all about the plants to me, right? What's best for the plants. And if I can create this natural habitat in my greenhouse, my plants are going to do so much better. And so in this design, it's super sturdy. The dogs can't get in here. And he's got all of these doors that lift up easily. So there's 6 of them on the front, and I can lift them one at a time or whatever I want. And a lot of times during the wintertime, I was lifting one on each end just so that I could get a little bit more air in during the day when it was really nice, when I didn't want them all the way open. It's all about thinking it through, right? Seriously, and then going and looking and researching and seeing what works, and then having a brilliant mind.
And from my perspective, the ventilation is the real key on that stem wall. Awesomely done.
Yeah, and you need that option to regulate how much airflow you have coming in, be able to open more or open less, close some, and not just have the whole front open. You want to be able to control the climate in here and use that to your advantage.
And I know that's one of the things that you were talking about after seeing Nate's, because his all rolls up in the front. And so it's not easy to just open and close it on a whim. It takes me a couple seconds, really. Let's talk a little bit about the footprint. Now, there's a reason why the greenhouse is, 18 by 36?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
James, talk to us about that.
It's about the depth that Nate's was, so we knew that worked. So that was a great spot to start. But we knew that we couldn't go too deep, or else we were gonna gain too much air volume for how much mass we had to heat. We need to take that sunlight in through the glazing, heat that back wall, and heat the air that's in here. So if you get too much air volume, you can't keep that all the temperature that you need it to be.
And 36 feet was just the maximum amount of space that we had.
That was the space we had. So this could be expanded. We could go 500 feet long, but we can't go deeper. That's kind of what it came down to, is you can expand it this way, but not depth-wise, because the geometry just has to work with nature.
Right, and maybe you could go deeper, but this is the point of this was to build something that we knew would work.
Yeah.
And it does work. So it's kind of hard when you're putting so many resources into a project like this. You don't want to just guess on things. You want to know it's going to work.
And we wanted this to be handicap accessible. So in Nate's greenhouse, he has doors on each end that come down, and then there's just a regular wood chip path. But for us, we wanted it wheelchair accessible. And so from my back door, there's a sidewalk that goes down here, and then you've got the doors, and you've got a paved concrete path all throughout the greenhouse to make sure that it was handicap accessible. Okay, Jonathan, talk to us about how we decided how deep we were going to sink the greenhouse.
Well, we kind of relied a little bit on Nate's. Nate was about 3 feet deep, which matches our frost depth. And part of it too was the geometry of our lot here. Just the geometry of where it was going lended itself really well. I personally think it's just the right height for this greenhouse. It provides that nice growing bed there. It provides that insulation all the way on 3 sides of it from the earth.
Yeah, it puts you down below that frost level, so it gets you to the warmth of the earth, and at not too deep that you're dark in here. It keeps it light, even in the lowest portions of the greenhouse. It's still light.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. It's really cool. Now, a lot of times what you would want to do is on this back wall, you would want it to be all the way under the dirt, right? Under the soil. But we did some engineering things and put this really thick wall there that was insulated so that we didn't have to do that. And we'll talk about that in another video. Okay, this was designed for Utah Zone 6, which means that James took into consideration the snow load, our temperatures, which, usually we don't get lower than -10, which we can, but usually we don't. So if you're using this same design, you would want to make sure that you either give James a call and have him design the plans for you, or seek another professional that can give you some good advice. We sell the plans, which it's a great deal, but you're going to want to make sure that if you're not Zone 6 in Utah, you want to make sure you get them just specifically for your location. One of the things we had to do was to pull a building permit with our city in order to build this. And it was kind of hard because only crazy people do things like this. And we had to get a variance, and it took a little bit, but we didn't give up and we got it. But that's another thing you really have to think about.
And this was kind of new for our city because they hadn't seen much of this.
Nobody's seen much of this.
They had some
This
concerns.
is unique.
Yeah, they had some concerns, and we answered those concerns. And in the end, the head of planning and zoning here stepped up and said, I think this is a great project. They've done their homework, and they had some concerns about fire code, but we told them this is metal and concrete, and the building next to it is metal and concrete. And so ultimately they said, yeah, I don't think there's anything that's going to burn there. And that's their job, is to bring up concerns, find out all the details and stay within the law. And we did. In the end, they were very, very supportive.
Okay, James, so tell them a little bit about if they choose to go on and buy the plans that you have created, what are they going to get in that package?
Yeah, you'll get like 78 pages of the drafted design where you can take the steel portion of this greenhouse and fabricate it yourself or hand it to a fabricator and they can fabricate it for you. The other portion is the concept drawings that let you visualize what it is, and you from that you have your foundation, all of your concrete drawings, your site plan, everything that way to be able to build it from the start to the finish.
And I think that's one of the things that I do not regret, even though it was more expensive, making sure that the frame of this is quality metal and it's all galvanized, so it's not going to rust. It's just beautiful for many years to come. And so, yeah, I really am glad that we did that.
And you do want a good set of plans because there were lots of places in this construction, if we didn't have a good set of plans, things would have ended up weird and off angles. And James just did such an awesome job in having every detail worked out so that everything fit just right. It went as smoothly as I've ever seen a project go.
Yeah, you did a great job. James, what do you think the hardest design aspect of this was?
I don't think there was really anything hard about it. It was just giving each portion thought, and I guess building, you'd say there was things difficult, not really difficult, hard work, but went together well.
It was hard work. I watched all the hard work. I get now is my hard work, but it was beautiful to watch you guys and all that you guys did to make this come together, because there's nothing about this greenhouse that I regret. Right. Like it was just really, really well done. I think my hardest decision is what plants I need to plant and sourcing my plants. So the design aspect is huge. On our next video, we're going to talk about the excavation and the foundation walls, and we've got pictures of all of that. So you're not going to want to miss that. You're going to want to see that. So I super want to thank James for the beautiful gift of my greenhouse, and you get thanks for the beautiful gift of my greenhouse.
Honorary mention for being vetoed several times. So
I have to give thanks to my team. I work with a good team, and each one of them helped out a lot with this, and it just came together really good.
James' company is Mighty Metal, and we will make sure that we leave a link to his website and his number in case you guys would like to contact him, because he does have some unique talents to make this happen.
Yeah.
So tell me, when you're building your greenhouse, did you have any design challenges? Or are you just thinking about building your greenhouse? Leave it in the comments below. And don't be afraid to get a little bit of dirt under your fingernails and turn that dirt into a delicious dinner.